Yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back. That's right, for Monday, December 30th, 2019. Coming to you live. You know, want to say shout out to the LDBC. And I hope everybody is coming to the end of a great year in the sport of boxing. We're going to celebrate the new year in a short minute, and then we're going to get right back on track. 2020, more fights. But, just wanted to come on this evening and talk a little bit. You know, after we did our show yesterday and the shows that took place over the weekend that we had comments on, I found that there was some more things that I wanted to talk about. So I thought I would come out here. That's why you see the title of this evening's stream, Taking the Initiative in Bouts. Just wanted to talk about that a little bit and the significance of taking the initiative in bouts. See, we got a few people falling into the building. Want to acknowledge them. We got Brooklyn Child Boxing out there. He says, "What's good, OG?" Sir Big Head Jazz is out there. Elegant boxing lesson music. Yeah, man. You know, jazz and boxing goes very well together, Sir Big Head. And I'm so upset that I had a nice video clip of a young man training and working the pads in the ring that I used to like to pair with this music. But somehow that clip has been corrupted. Every time I try to use it, it freezes. So I brought another brother that's a familiar face to you all out there. And this is Andre Ward working the pads. So, you know, Stormybman, if he can't go over it, he gonna go around it or go through it. So that's how you do it. You know what I mean? So that's what you see there. Jeff, the producer's out there. He says, "Salute Stormybman." Salute to you, Jeff. E. Woodson, what's going on with you, brother? Chi-Town stand up. That's my Chi-Town, Chi-City brother, E. Woodson. Always showing me some love and support, and I really appreciate that. Derek McGee is out there. He says, "Salute, family." Who else we got there? Got E. Woodson. Denise Wars is out there. What's good with you, sister? How you doing? She's got that little mug there. She's saluting me with that. Mark Wunderlich is out there. He says, "Utah in the house," I guess. And he's asking, who you got? Utes versus Texas tomorrow night. Hey, Mark, I don't watch football no more, man. I've given it up. It's been a couple of years or more that Stormybman don't watch football no more, man. I'm full-time dedicated boxing man now. You know what I'm saying? But I will tell you this. I got a crock pot going with my famous chili tonight. You know, I talked it up on that other stream where we did the dining dish, talking about the chili. So I told you guys Stormybman was going to work his way around to getting that chili on. And it's going to be chili on big time when I finish up here. Y'all could probably smell the aroma through the microphone, but you can't have none. I ain't sharing. I'm stingy with my chili. So Gil Coles is out there. He says, "Salute Stormybman" in the chat. And Ronald Finkley is out there. I see you, Ronald Finkley. He says, "Salute Stormybman." He says, "No football for me." That's right, Ronald Finkley. No football. You know, ain't nothing wrong with you guys if you want to watch football, but I'm a strictly boxing man now. No NBA, no NFL, no Major League Baseball. They all suck. You know. So I am here We're going to talk about this. This particular subject is kind of like a revisiting, because when I've talked about this in the past, I've done it when we've done streams, giving post fights, giving fight breakdowns. That's what this is, talking about taking the initiative in bouts. You know, the latest fight that exemplifies this point that I would like to touch on is the fight that took place between Jean Pascal this weekend and Bouts. You know, Bouts is a guy who is a former champion, and he was looking for another opportunity to become champion again. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, if you've lost and you try to come back and everything, but there is something terribly wrong when you don't make the adjustments, okay, the necessary adjustments to put you in a more favorable light when you're challenging in a professional boxing match. And Bouts is too experienced and is at too advanced of an age to not show that he has learned something about these close matches that he's found himself in, particularly in title fights and against top contending fighters. You know, this fight with Bouts and Pascal saw Pascal come out as the champion, the WBA light heavyweight champion, and he really took the fight to Jack. Jack is a notorious slow starter, but these guys that fight from behind, and Stormybman has talked about that before as well, fighting from behind, that's another way of me saying that a fighter who doesn't get off his punches first, doesn't take the necessary initiative in a bout to contest. You're actually just reacting to what's being done to you. In championship fights, this can be a disfavorable option, because as you do that, the judges are noticing that you're second, that the other guy's the lead, therefore he must be controlling the tempo of the fight or dictating. And that may not necessarily be so, but that's how they're going to see this. See, and fighters that don't pay attention to that, they need to keep that in mind, because they wonder at the end of a bout where they feel like, oh, I should have got that decision or something, right? Well, sometimes this is why you don't get the decision, bro. You don't get that decision just because you participated, you know, just because you showed up. You have to perform, and you have to perform either equally or beyond what the opponent is doing. And we're seeing this kind of regular, you know. As Pascal faded in the fight, as I scored it, and I have my scorecard here, I scored it a draw, actually, the fight. But I would say it was roughly around round 7 when Pascal began to show the signs of slowing down. That was the last round where I felt like he actually took the round. And then after that, Jack began to outscore him with the jab, but he wasn't snatching the victory away from Pascal during those later rounds. He was basically working a little more than Pascal, and it was Pascal who had slowed down. So when you look at that, it wasn't so much of what Bouts was doing, because he was still fighting from behind. And even when he got the knockdown in the 12th round, it was more the fatigue factor and everything. For Pascal, he went down, but he got right back up. He was clear-headed and everything, just tired. But Bouts, once the guy got back to his feet and the fight resumed, he went in close and he started smothering his own work. And I spoke about this in the stream the other day too, about smothering your work. It's when you don't give yourself proper distance to be able to get the certain shots off to be effective against the opponent who's hurt. You either give him a chance to tie you up and kill the clock, or to stop your activity. And in a championship fight, which is what Jack found himself in, not going after the fighter properly and smothering your work and everything, you're not putting yourself in a favorable position to win. You know what I mean? So that's one of those things. And it's like, man, I'm screaming at the TV. I'm like, step back, step off to the side, give an angle. Stop giving this guy a chance to be victorious over you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I don't know what Lou Del Valle was doing. I couldn't hear a lot of his instructions, but I'm not a fan. Okay? And there were so many more things that Bouts Jack could have done in this fight to get a decision, and he didn't do any of it. He got caught early with a good shot, and being clipped like that, he was wary of Pascal's power. But he was supposed to use his height and reach advantages. He was supposed to use mobility, because Pascal is the type of fighter that he has to be planted to land those shots that he throws, because he's mostly throwing winging shots and winding up shots from the outside. Every once in a while, he was sticking uppercuts in there, only simply because Jack stood straight in front of him with his guard high like this. But none of that moving your head, moving your shoulders and rolling and slipping. So he put himself at, a disadvantage. And it was very frustrating to watch. It was a good fight, and it was competed at the level that these two elder statesmen, I think Pascal's 37 and Jack is 38. But it could have been so much better if the man who lost the decision had done some simple things to keep himself in the match. So that's how I saw that. And again, with the subject this evening being, taking the initiative in bouts, it's one of those things that these guys do. Another thing about Andre Ward, who happens to be in this clip here, Ward understood those very notions that I speak of. He knew how to get in and get out. He knew when to take an initiative. He knew when to make the opponent come at him. And that's all ring IQ. You know what I mean? Because you could draw a guy in. Sometimes you could set a guy up easier when you don't go in pursuit of him. You know what I mean? But there are times. It's all about timing when you do these things. It's like when I talk about guys who run out there, the bell rings, and they go into the shoulder roll, going out there. Why are you stepping to the center of the ring with a shoulder roll, and you just left the corner and you're going into a defensive posture? Where the hell? It's like, dude, get that left up. You know what I'm saying? Get that left up and be ready to stick it out there and to work behind it and off of it and keep it up there where it can stop what's coming at you, block what's coming at you, catch what's coming at you, shoot. Just different things. It's like, but if your guard is down here, you're leaving all this open, man. And you see so many of these young fighters doing that today. And what's really piss poor is that when you see the fighters who do that, but the opponent doesn't know what to do to take advantage of it. That's stupid, man. It's like, who's teaching you guys? Crazy, man. Let me go back to the chat for a minute. Let's see. People are saluting each other. Denise Woods is still saying, need that music playlist. You like my music playlist, Denise? Thank you. Hey, email. I can hook you up. And let's see what we got. Gigi is out there. He says, salute Stormybman, what's good? And Ronald Finkley says, SOG, getting it in. Salute at E. Woodson. Gil Cole says, Stormybman wife made that chili. No, she didn't. But she got her face all trying to look in the pot. I'm like, get out the way. You didn't want no chili. Go sit down. You know what I mean? Dreezy KO says, Jack won that fight to me. Well, you know what, Dreezy KO? He didn't do it definitively. That's why the judges scored it. It was split, majority one way, because he wasn't very definitive in what he did. And that's not to take away from what you think you saw. But remember, you got 3 judges. You got to impress all 3 of them, or at least 2. And he only impressed 1. That's how he ended up on the losing end. But there were a number of things he could have done a great deal better. And giving away the first 5 rounds, was really not something to help him. Because after that, all Pascal needed to do was take maybe 2 of the late rounds on a judge's scorecard. And there you go. Plus, he got the knockdown earlier in the rounds. He got the knockdown in the 4th round. So that's how that worked out for him. You have to take that into consideration. Smash that like button, people, while you're out there, please. Smash the like button for Stormybman, talking to you about this boxing and the technical aspects of it. You know what I mean? Who else we got out here? Got some more people talking. Justin Taylor's out there. Says Stormy with the fist. Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens is out there. He says, salute my peoples. And let's see. Trying to catch up on Ronald Finkley's comments there, because Denise Ward says Lou Deval put out a video before the fight stating this was his last fight training Jack. I wish he had stopped training him before this fight. Maybe Jack would have had a chance. Boom! That's a shot at Lou Deval. Don't care for him as a trainer. Don't care for him as a trainer. Let's see what else we got. Ronald Finkley says, no doubt Ward was concentrating soul on body work. Yeah, the drill that Ward is doing on this clip happens to be one of those drills for working on the inside. So it could very well be body work, but it could be also, going to the head and body, a little mixture. But it's a very short clip. It's only like a 3-second clip. If not that, it's maybe a 2-second clip. E. Wilson says, Badu Jack didn't do enough. Absolutely. He didn't do enough. Didn't let his hands go. Didn't work the jab. Because he's the taller guy, the jab would have stopped a whole lot of what Pascal was trying to do. Because Pascal was throwing everything hard, including his jabs. And see, if you're more fluid with your jab, it doesn't matter if a guy's got a fast jab, slow jab, hard jab, stiff jab. If you working with him and you keeping yours out there, I said it before in a number of different streams where I talked about boxing, that if a fighter can throw 30 to 34 jabs a round, he can usually win that round. Now, that doesn't mean you just out there sticking. No, it has to be a variety. It has to be done in means of, especially if you got a shot you want to set up, okay? Because you got to get that jab off. Sometimes, if you get the jab working good enough, it deters the opponent a great deal. And that allows you to be able to dictate the pace and open up avenues for you to be even more successful with more variety of punches. For whatever reason, in this particular era of boxing of today, fighters don't have a great deal of confidence in the jab. And I think that's because the trainers and coaches, these guys who stand there and hold those focus mitts and pads, okay, they got you doing these drills and stuff like that, but that's rehearsed routines in non-combative action. I mean, Nobody's going to stand there in the ring and let you run those combinations off on them. If they do, that's a person who shouldn't be boxing. You know what I mean? So that's something to consider when people fight like that. Omega Red, I see you. Ronald Finkley said, great point, Denise Ward's. And Reggie Owens says, Lou is my homie. Okay, but I question his acumen in training. But that's okay, Reggie. We good. But I don't like his philosophy. I really don't. And this is not the first time. I've seen him with Jack through several fights. And each one, I kind of cringed at things I was hearing from the corner, as well as what the strategy that was devised for the opponent, what it was. So, yeah. Denise Ward says Jack was not taking the fight to Pascal. Not in the least. Even when he had him hurt in that 12th round, he didn't really go after him in the proper manner. He stepped too close, allowed the guy to tie him up, kill the clock, get his shape back. He didn't do the things that he was supposed to do if he was trying to come out of this fight as the champion. And, you know, that's what you have to stay on him about. That very notion, you know. What else? There's also another fighter who fights that way, fighting from behind. And this fighter is a champion and former champion, Danny Jacobs. In 2 fights with quality opposition, Danny Jacobs fought the very same way against Triple G and against Canelo Alvarez. Danny went out there as soon as the bell rang from the first round. He went to the center of the ring, met the fighter, and took a step backwards. You're a champion too. Why are you taking a step backwards? You're supposed to draw that line in the sand and say to Triple G or Canelo, once you cross this right here, this is what I got for you. Fat! You understand? But no, he didn't do that. When they see you, and this is something that veteran fighters can exploit. When they see you take a step in retreat at the championship level, it's just that alpha thing. They've already figured out that you're being submissive. The next thing is to test how submissive you're going to be. If I hit you with something hard, are you going to always go to block and cover up and cower or move away? Or are you going to fire back? You know what I mean? If you're going to fire back, then I have to be alert for you, because that means that you might be trying to catch me with something. But if you're going to give ground, that means that the more ground you give, the more ground I'm going to take from you. Real estate. Huh? And these guys, they do that. They do that. And championship fighters who know when they smell blood in the water, that's how they come for you. Huh? And Danny Jacobs, in both of those fights, easily 2 fights that he could have won. He retreated. He gave ground. He did not establish a line in the sand and say, hey, from here, I'm fighting you and going forward. And in his fight against Triple G, he was retreating so much that he got caught and got dropped because his feet got crossed up because he was trying to get out of the way. Huh? Sometimes, and I'll tell you, Triple G is not a fighter who fights on the inside. Danny Jacobs and his trainer and his camp, the people, they should have known these things. When Triple G needs to work you from a medium distance or catch you from the outside, but he ain't trying to be close to you. Okay? So why didn't you go to him, turn him, and get back out away from the ropes and keep the fight in the center of the ring? Boxing 101. These are the type of things you're supposed to do to keep yourself thriving and alive in a fight. The guy has to be planted because he's a puncher. He's plotting, and when he can cut that ring off on you and catch you, he's going to throw something heavy. Huh? But if you were going to give ground like that, you wait for him to throw that he's throwing heavy, and you hit his ass because he's wide open. The best time to hit an opponent is when they're trying to hit you. So you throw the punch when he's throwing a punch. He's not used to getting hit at the same time. It'll make him gun shy, especially if you catch him a good shot. You see? But these guys, again, they're taught certain things. And they're taught certain things about you. The reason why they took the fight with Danny Jacobs is because of the very things that I'm talking about Danny Jacobs. And once they understand that that's your personality and the type of character that you display as a champion or as a fighter, they know that they can contend with that because they're accustomed to beating guys like that and guys who are even less alpha. Okay, so that's why they picked you, Danny Jacobs. They didn't pick Charlo. They didn't pick Andre. Okay, even though I feel like Andre is a guy who can fight from behind a lot of times himself, but his talent allows him to get away with that. Okay, but for guys like Jacobs, that's a straight up meat and potato guy, Badu Jack, straight up meat and potato guy, you got to be more offensive. And you have to pick the spots to be offensive. When you're beginning a fight, somewhere during the middle of the fight, if it's going rounds, and definitely at the end of the fight, you have to take charge and take moments and say, I'm taking this round. I got to take this round to ensure on the judges' scorecards that I am going to have, what I need to have to get the job done. So that's what you have to do. So Ronald Finkley says, I felt that people comment, over-exaggerate certain points that particularly won't get scored, whether a glove shot or non-power point. Okay. What else we got here? Boju Thibodeau Boxing, I see you. E. Woodson says, yeah, that Miracle Man gonna need some prayers or something so he can fight. He can start fighting when it counts. Yeah. Denise Ward says Jacobs could have beat Triple G and Canelo. Absolutely. See, Sister Denise Ward, she's out here watching this, okay? And she's making proper assessments too. She's not falling in love with a guy just because of who his name is or whatever. She's looking at the fight, and she's giving the absolute excellent comments on what these guys are doing wrong. But here it is, I'm saying it, and some people be like, oh, well, Stormy just, he like this guy, he don't like that guy, he hate and he this and that. Dude, I'm giving you the actual breakdown. Fighters who fight from behind usually lose. You have to take an initiative, as the title in the show says. You have to be about that, especially at the championship level. Because what separates the champions from everyone else is really the finer points. The small, finite aspects of what they do correctly and consistently. So Danny Jacobs, Triple G, saw what I'm talking about, his people, and said, this is a guy we ain't got to worry about him trying to knock you out because he's not that aggressive. You have to actually run into something for him, but he's not a person that sets you up. He'll just be in there. It's basically like a sparring match because he's not going to take risks. He's not going to gamble. He's not going to come outside of himself to take over the fight. So he'll basically be there for 12 unless you hit him with something and get him out of there. And it's funny how Triple G and Canelo come off of fights with one another. 2 fights, good fights between the two of them. Okay, and they both fought this guy instead of fighting someone else in the division. Jacobs people can't see that. They can't see how they look. That's disrespectful. That's basically saying, oh, he ain't shit, we'll take him. That's what that is. Ronald Finkley says that Denise Ward's classic example, Jacob fights only to the other fighter's pace. It's even more detailed than that, Ronald Finkley. It's because he doesn't have ambition. Okay? He's content competing, being a part of the contest. Okay? But there are a few people who love to be invited to the party, who come to the party, and what you don't know is their intent is to turn that party out. They ain't got to tell you, but you can tell how they move in the party. Same thing in boxing. There are guys who will come to the dance. They'll give some effort. Some will give more than others. But that guy who came to win, you can see it. It's defined by his actions. It's defined by what stakes he's putting on the table. Gigi says, Stormybman, would you agree Joseph Parker is in the same league as Jacobs and Badu Jack when it comes to being happy to take the back seat in a fight? Man, you just gave me another name because I was looking for a few more names. I've written some names down, but absolutely, Gigi, Joseph Parker is that guy. He's the also ran. Okay, he's that guy that he's glad to have been a part of the show. Now, when he fights in his hometown and he's able to fight in front of his countrymen, his bluff is that he's putting it out there. But notice he hasn't fought top opposition in his hometown like that. That's because he will be made to look very poor if he tried to do that in front of his people, because he'll get knocked the hell out. But definitely Parker is another fighter like that. Definitely Parker is. You know who else at heavyweight is? Dominique Brazil. How you gonna be a big giant 6'7", damn near 300-pound guy, okay? And you come out there and you put your guard up and you wait for the guy to punch you first, then you jab back at him. If he jab at you, you jab back at him. If he throw a right hand, you cover up, then you throw a right hand. Whatever happened to getting off first? And I'm telling you, when you don't put your efforts up to be defensive in a manner of blocking punches, slipping punches and everything, this is not a bravery contest where you let guys just pound on you. The head wasn't meant to be hit. And you think you being a tough man? Yeah, we can give you credit for hanging tough, but at the end of the day, your ass still lost. You still got knocked out because you're not doing the proper things. I still am talking about, I can't believe he walked out there against Deontay Wilder with his hands low. This man in UFC, the knockouts that he's been doing, and you can see all the the casualties of the wars, the heads on the stick and everything, and you go out there, your hands around your waist like this, you walking up to Deontay, and then you out, because you ain't had your hands up. You deserve to be on the canvas. With that foolishness, man. E. Wilson says, I definitely thought Jacobs could have won against both Canelo and Golovkin. Yeah, he has talent, but he doesn't have inside and up here. It's not equating. He'll be at the level he's at. He was having trouble with Chavez Jr. Before Chavez Jr. checked out. He was having trouble. Imagine if Chavez Jr. had brought it. In other words, wanted it that night. I think Jacobs would have been in some damn trouble, man. He was over there in the corner worrying about how big the guy was and everything. Talking to his cornerman. This is a big dude, man. I got to be careful. Dude, you signed to fight him. You wasn't supposed to fight that dude anyway, because that's what he does. He comes in out of shape, over the weights and stuff like this, but you and your people thought you was cherry picking. The one thing nobody really expected him to do was quit like he did. And he quit not because you was whooping his ass. He quit because he really didn't train for you. And he quit because he didn't have any ambition other than just to score a payday. Huh? But it's like you were out there huffing and you was like worried and everything. And the dude quit in a fight where he was being highly competitive. He probably won, he quit in the 4th round, 5th round. He probably won at least 2 of the rounds, if not 3 of them. And then he quits. That tells you about the person you selected. Man, you a damn dummy. Denise Ward says, Pascal was tired, but he didn't give in. No, he didn't. And even when he was fighting Sergey Kovalev, Pascal was still trying till he got stopped. You know, that's the difference. Imagine if you could give a little bit of that spirit to some of these other dudes out there. Huh? Boxing would be in a tremendous place. But Pascal, you're absolutely right. Denise was. I'm telling you guys, Denise is watching. She's seeing these things. What's going on? Salute to you, Denise. You very observant. You're right on it. You're on it. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. Ronald Finkley says, okay, Stormy B, man, I see what you mean. Yeah, man. And Denise Woods is clapping at GG and says Andy Ruiz beat Parker in his hometown, but did not get the decision. That's what I was talking about. You know, he could try to bluff his way and this and that, but with Ruiz, yeah, they take the fight away from Ruiz. Ruiz should have got that decision. I just watched that fight before the rematch between Ruiz and Joshua. I was watching it and I was saying to myself, this guy should have won that fight. He should have gotten that nod. Definitely should have gotten that nod. Ronald Finkley says, Wilder versus Fury is scheduled to be the biggest pay-per-view since Floyd versus Pac. We'll see. Denise Ward says that Ronald Finkley, 100, cannot wait for the fight. Curtis Anderson's in the building. He says, salute Stormy B-Man and chat. Good evening. Good evening, Kurt. How you doing, brother? And Young Merv the Cut Man is out there, says, salute Stormy B-Man, LDBC strong. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Then guys like Peter Quillen, you know, another guy who fights from behind. Peter Quillen lost that fight that he lost recently because of that very thing. He came out, he was throwing punches second and third and fourth after the other guy led with the, 1 and the 1-2. But again, this is what we're talking about here. A lot of times it's the psyche, the mental conditioning of the individual. They may not have an aggressive nature, but you don't have to have an aggressive nature to be successful. You just need to know what your options are to set the pace of a fight. And that's where the trainer comes in to devise strategy, tactics to put you in a position to be successful. But just backing up, covering up, not shooting, not getting off, that's not going to help you. And then you cry at the end when you don't get a decision. Foolishness, man. E. Woodson says, Queen Denise. Yeah. Denise is a lot smarter than some of these guys out here that think they know what they're talking about. Huh? And they don't. And then when they don't agree with you because you're giving them some things that are concrete and evident, oh, you're a hater now. Huh? Oh, you just don't like this guy or that guy or the other, No, that's not what that is. That's not what that is at all. She says, I watch the fights with no sound. Yeah, there you go. You understand? You can't be tainted by the corrupt commentators who have their own agendas, guys who talk up the house fighters and don't really see the action for what it is. You can see a guy get touched up and they'll be making comments on other shit, you know, talking about, yeah, and tonight we got, you know, so-and-so in the audience and shit. But the dude just took a solid shot that made his knees buckle and shit. Huh? That's the kind of stuff that they do, especially if it's the house fighter. And he's taking his pound of flesh, and they don't want to really say too much about that. So they be kind of waiting for some other shit to happen. You know? Like, remember Paulie, the famous call, Brazil and Wilder? You know, Wilder had backed him up and everything into a corner and everything. And Paulie was talking this stuff against Wilder. And then he's like, oh, credit to Brazil guy. Oh! And the motherfucker went down. That's what he get, huh? Talking shit against Wilder. Man, you know what's great about Deontay Wilder? They can say whatever they want, but he always come through, right? And have something to shush their mouth, man. That's great stuff, man. I love that. I love it. Ronald Finkley says, Quillen versus Andy Lee, shaking my head. Realize these boxers get comfortable with the old tricks. Peter Quillen was getting stagnant and Andy capitalized. Yeah. Yeah. You know? But I think that Quillen is a victim of guys who fight gym wars. Totally took the polish off of his own physical welfare and well-being. You know what I mean? Because he hasn't, you know, taken a lot of punishment in the fights, but it's that gym. You can't leave all the fight in the gym, man. I keep talking about that too. These guys, they go in there and they try to compete in the gym and, you know, build reputations, especially if you're a championship level fighter, you're a top 10 guy or whatever. Why are you rumbling in the gym? You're supposed to be learning in the gym. And just because you're near a title shot or actually going to regain a title, that don't mean you can't learn something new. You can always learn something new. Always learn something new. You guys are laughing at me talking about Paulie in the Wilder fight. Man, that's classic. I love to just rewind that and just listen to him. And Denise, I know you don't listen to commentary, but that's one time that you can hear that dude say that shit. And he thought he was talking something against Wilder, and Wilder just turned the lights out on everything. And they was like, oh shit, you know. Young Murder Cutman says, Deontay killed that boy for like 10 good seconds. Yes, he did, man. Yes, he did. And Ronald Finkley says, Thanos. Ravens Nation is out there, says, salute Stormy and Kurt. E. Wilson says, I remember that. Paulie cut himself off trying to talk too much and wasn't saying nothing. Yeah, that was great, man. Dreezy KO says, Danny Garcia is one of the fighters that don't have a second gear. That's why he's going to get his head knocked messing with Bud. Well, you know, they fought in the amateurs and they split. So, but of course the pros ain't the amateurs. I think that Danny likes to look good and he fights well being in that mode because he's very confident. You have to take his confidence away from him. And there's a way to do it, but I can't tell you that for free. Okay? But the things that I see with Danny is that Danny doesn't fight at a pace that will dictate tempo, but he tries to lay like a spider in a web for a guy to make a mistake and then try to capitalize on it. And that's not to say that he doesn't fight he doesn't have another gear, because I think he does, because he stops guys. You know, you have to be able to step it up when you stop guys. He hasn't just KO'd a bunch of guys with a single shot, but he has a deadly hook, but he has done some things to break guys down and overcome them. But nobody has made him fight at that pace. Even when he fought Sean Porter, he stayed safe within a certain box, and Porter allowed him to remain safe in that certain box, because Porter at that time, when they met one another, was fighting more one-dimensional himself. But Porter has since that fight picked up some greater boxing tactic and strategy that he implements when he fights now. So yeah. Ronald Finkley says, great point, Stormy B, man. Boxing is a craft before war at the gym. I like that theory. Yeah, man, you don't blow yourself out in the gym. But today, a lot of guys are doing that, and you have to have a solid person over the gym that's overseeing activity and know when to cut stuff off, cut it short. Because if it get to that point where you're the person that's working with you in the gym is getting you on edge, they have to pull you back. Have to pull you back, because you save that for who you getting paid to fight. You ain't getting paid for this dude, especially if you're the guy that's paying a sparring partner to come in. And you don't pay guys to come in and try to win something with you in the gym. Keep them guys the hell away from your gym, because they're out there too. E. Woodson says, that was funny as hell. He's laughing. Young Murder Cutman says, Danny is kind of underrated. He can box too. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say, Young Merv, because I would stop short of saying that Danny doesn't have a second gear. I would stop short of saying that he can box. He's been successful for a reason. You know what it is with Danny? Danny has what an old term we used to use. He has guile. Okay? He can still beat a guy without burning all his stamina and energy up and whatnot. That's what he did to Amir Khan. Even though Amir Khan was, he was boxing, he thought he was in a good place or whatever. When Danny decided to turn the light out on him, that's what he did. But Danny can do that to a lot of guys that don't understand boxing. You have to see guys like Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford. Those men have a stronger boxing IQ. So they'll know how to try to draw Danny out of that, and make him do some other things so they can try to capitalize on that. But Danny is definitely a person with a lot of ring guile. That's what I call it, ring guile. So, yeah. Ronald Finkley says, Wilder versus Fury, damn near sold out. Who runs boxing? King Deontay Thanos Wilder. That's who. Salute Bomb Squad Nation. E. Woodson says, I think pro Bud is better than amateur Bud, but I don't know about Danny. That pace and style might not be able to pull off a W against Crawford. Gigi says, talking about gym wars on the other side of the coin, some fighters ain't getting enough effective sparring. Yard was criticized for his lack of sparring prior to Kovalev. Well, the whole philosophy over there in the Yard camp, you had to call into question. That wasn't just the sparring. It was the whole approach to the sport. You understand? And Yard would do better to get some new people. Dreezy KO says, Danny Garcia, best win at 147 is Robert Guerrero, and he cried when he beat Granados like that was a huge statement. Yeah, Guerrero, yeah, the man. Hey, my son, with my man G Funky 84, he does this great Ruben Guerrero, man. If you ever catch D style boxing, man, that dude had me rolling when he do the Ruben Guerrero, man. I love that. Shout out to D style boxing, man. Ronald Finkley says, Tank is tanking. Everybody in his path. but is his defense official? Ronald, you just throwing subjects out there to see if Stormy gonna latch on or something. But let me tell you something about Tank. Put this down. Write this down. Tank ain't. Okay? That's what I'll say for tonight about him. Notice when I did my video earlier, I dropped my video talking about Pascal and Jack. I didn't do a video on Tank. I didn't do it. Ain't gonna do it. Huh? Young Merv the Cutman says, I don't like Danny too much, but the kid can fight. Absolutely. He's above average counterpuncher, and he has different ways of countering too. Absolutely. That's guile. Ring IQ. He has something. And let's see. Ronald Finkley says, I like to hear different perspectives. I know, Ronald. I mean, I ain't attacking you, but just know that a lot of Tank supporters gonna have tears, okay? Tears, and they ain't gonna be tears of joy, huh? You ain't gonna have tears of joy. They're gonna be, bringing flowers. He said he's dead. He's lit. Yeah, man. But hey, listen. You know, one thing about me, man, I can give you my perspective and everything, but I could also give you a foundation that I build that upon. I'm just not talking out my ass here. You understand? Yeah. Appreciated Stormybman. I heard everything now. Laugh out loud. He said, Ronald. Young Merv the Cutman says, watch out for Lubin. He says, what do he say? Watch out for Lubin. He coming. Yeah, I know. He's coming. Big time. And what else he says? E. Woodson says, Tank could sharpen up on defense at Ronald Finkley. Maybe since he's so offensive, his focus on power shots outweigh his defense. He need to focus on a lot more than that. Denise Ward says, Tank need to get disciplined, a live boxer lifestyle, and stop blowing up in weight and missing weight on the scales. I'm telling y'all, I'm going to have Denise Ward on my show, man. She going to tell all y'all what the deal is. We're going to call it The Rundown with Denise Ward. That's what we gonna do. Then I could give her that music playlist too. Yes, sir. What else we got? Gigi says, y'all remember Angel Garcia go for Ruben at the press conference? Yeah, man, those two guys. That was entertaining. Yes, sir. Dreezy KO says, it would have been a bad look if the ref let Gamboa get up after the 12th. That fight could have went to the cards. Yeah. It's amazing that dude fought with that bad Achilles too, man. What the hell was that? I was like, I've never seen that before in my life, you know. He stayed up. He stayed up, you know, till he got knocked down. So, yeah. But, yeah. Denise Ward says that Dreezy KO, absolutely. E. Wilson says he could focus more on running laps, too. Yeah, man. And running away from them hooligans that he be having in his entourage and all of that foolishness, man. But that's just another story within itself, man. Just another story, you know. Young Merv the Cutman says, I watched Tank pull counter guys and catch and shoot, but he don't seem like to like the boxing part, only the result. Well, you know, that's that undisciplined nature that Denise was talking about. And, you know, again, I would rather not even talk about the guy at this time, because he's shown me enough right now that I don't need to see no more of him for a while. Huh? And that writes its own ticket. So, But look here, brothers and sisters, I appreciate you guys joining me for this show. This hour has gone by rather quickly, and I had no idea that it could happen so quickly like that. But this has been a very good boxing talk. You guys have brought some great comments to the chat and everything. Please smash that like button. Stormybman gonna check on out. Go hit that pot of chili. You understand? And I want to say shout out to the LDBC, and I appreciate all of you guys out there, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. We got another dining dish coming up very soon, and we'll talk some good food. Okay, so that's all I got for you guys this evening. Have a great night and Happy New Year to everybody. All right, peace out.